Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Pashvika, the channel where we talk about the nature lover. We love our nature, we want to protect it, we want to safeguard it, and we want to implement the ways which are more eco-friendly, which are beneficial for the environment. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about the eco-friendly paints for artists. Are there any paints in the online space or in this world where you can have an eco-friendly paints? I'm going to be talking about some of the brands in this particular video. And none of the brands have actually sponsored this video. It's just based on my own experience and knowledge so far that I'm going to be sharing in this particular video because we love our nature so much. I do love my nature so much. So that's why this channel is completely focusing on the nature lover, focusing on the products, the items, the tips and tricks to actually protect and preserve our environment because it's really a serious concern. If you don't know about it, you can Google it. But if you love nature like I do, consider subscribing because we upload new videos every single week, and when we do so, you're gonna get notified about it. So let's dive with today's video. We talk, are there any eco-friendly paints out there? Is it really eco-friendly? We're going to know more about it. Let's talk about that. Artists are seeing more and more promotional products marketed as environmentally aware. Terms such as eco-friendly, environmentally safe, and green have no generally recognized meaning in drilling our marketing languages. So how the paints can be eco-friendly? The first of all, the materials they actually use for making these paints, whether these are environment derived or whether these are derived from the animals or how it's been derived. So that's the first thing, the process of the materials that are required to make the paint. So that is the first thing. The second is the manufacturing process. Like these colors have been made in the industries or in the factories or maybe in the handmade, whatever it is. What's the process of making these colors? Is it really environment friendly? Is it really eco-friendly? That's the second process. The third process is the packaging stuff. Now, of course, if they are using the plastics, they are not at all eco-friendly. How they are packaging their colors, how they are actually delivering it to the customer. So these are three ways in which we can consider the eco-friendly paints. So I'm going to be sharing some of the brands with you which I think is kind of like a more environment friendly in comparison to the other brands in the online space. So the ingredient base is the first brand that I have for you is the natural ingredients. The Vancouver, Canada-based EarthEasy.com. It's based in the Canada, Vancouver-based brand. Its company sells watercolor paints and composed of plant dyes mixed with beeswax and aluminium oxide. Watercolor paints composed of the plant dyes. So they actually extract the plant dyes, and there are so many plants that actually have the dyes. Like if you know the indigo has been extracted from some particular dyes, and then they actually mix it with the beeswax and aluminium oxide. The company says that it is non-toxic as you can get. They also sell eco-friendly watercolor pencils, so that's interesting, made with reforested wood or wood that has come from the forestry that replants a tree for each one cut down. So that's amazing. They also have the watercolor paints and they also have the watercolor pencil. So that's really interesting. I mean, you can check the eartheasy.com, Vancouver based company, and you can check about what are the different paints they have. They are usually talking about the watercolor paints. And what about the second brand that I have for you is M. Graham and Co. The Wesleyan, Oregon based a producer of the artist paints uses walnut oil as a binder. Oh, that's interesting. They're using a walnut oil as a binder in almost all of its paints. Usually, I think that the handmade watercolor paints that have been made is using gum arabic solution as their binder. I mean, again, it depends what the binders they are using. Walnut oil eliminates the need for solvents when cleansing the brush. So that's amazing. You don't need a solvent to actually clean the brush. So that's why they are using the walnut oil. According to Judy Rebitsy, the company's business operation manager, walnut oil makes the paint slide off the bristles of the brush while solvents dissolve paint and are known as carcinogens. Yes, if you're using a solvents to actually dissolve the paints from your brushes, to actually clean your brushes, they have the carcinogens, they can be toxic. So that's why they are using the walnut oil in their paint so that artists don't need to actually use a solvent to clean their brush. So that's pretty interesting. Let's talk about the recycled packaging. Another thing I want to talk about is the eco-friendly paints that have the category of the recycled packaging. Other art supply manufacturers tout their other environmentally conscious production shipping practices. The Ashland, Oregon-based Natural Earth Paint. Now, I came across the Natural Earth Paint recently and I've been exploring them, and I was thinking of actually purchasing them to give it a try whether these are really eco-friendly or not, how it's made. For example, claims to use locally made 100% post-consumer recycled packaging, biodegradable plastic bags, and recyclable glass bottles. They also add that it operates in 100% solar powered facility. So that's interesting. I mean, we can dive more into these particular brands and we can actually review them whether these are using the procedure that are really eco-friendly or not. Let me know in the comment section below if you want a much more depth in about any particular brand in detail. We can review them and we can see whether they are actually eco-friendly or not. Another is the alternative energy sources. Golden Artist Colors in New Berlin, that New York. 100% clean electricity generated entirely from wind and low-impact hydro sources, which definitely resulted in smaller carbon footprint for paints. According to spokesman, he added, since 1992, we have recycled thousands of gallons of latest house paint. So they are recycling the latest house paints collected from annual local household hazardous waste collection days as a free service to our local communities. They also source raw materials only from the companies with no environmental violation or less than a state of the air pollution control practices. So that's pretty interesting. They're actually recycling the latex house paints and using them. Another type of the paint that term them as eco-friendly is less water usage. So best environmental practices at Winsor and Newton, it's the most common brand for watercolor paints, for different kinds of the paints, include processing and reusing water rather than simply using water and releasing into the drains. Additionally, at its brush making plant in the United Kingdom, the company has introduced a rainwater collection system that provides a free alternative source of water for the production process and enable them to cut fresh water consumption. So there are so at the source of the pigments. Some of them are actually extracted from the earth sources like the iron oxide or maybe different kinds of the earth iron ore materials, or they are based from the plant-based dyes. So they are extracting the colors or the dyes from the plants that could be more eco-friendly. So it depends on how they are actually terming it and how they. These are some brands or some companies that are focusing on the eco-friendly paints. Of course, there could be a lot many brands out there in the online space. This is entirely based on my research and knowledge so far. Of course, I'm looking forward to a more friendly alternative because I'm also an artist. I'm also a creative person. I'm looking forward to use the more eco-friendly paints. Recently, I've actually made my own paints. I get the plant dyes and then I actually use the binder, the gum arabic, to bind them. And then I created a kind of like a watercolor paints. I've seen a lot of the handmade watercolor paints out in the online space on the Etsy. They have the kind of like a recipe for making your own watercolor paints at the home, and I think that these are handmade and homemade as well, and these are actually using all the products that is being extracted from the plants, so more eco-friendly. But again, we need more research about the eco-friendly paints. I think we need a more research about the eco-friendly substitute for each and everything that we are using in our life, not just the paints but also the clothes, but also the things that we are using on a daily basis. We do need the alternatives, and we are looking forward to a friendly and eco-friendly alternative to actually replace them, because if we are continue to use the things the way we are using as previously our ancestors have been using it, we would end up actually exploiting an environment. It's much more worse way, and we don't really want that. So that's why we have to keep on looking for a substitute, because I know that everything is possible in this planet Earth. If something is coming in your imagination, in your mind, and you want to bring that thing to reality, that means it does exist. It's just that you need to do the research, you need to find it out, and you need to test drive and do the different things, and then actually meditate and actually tune into your intuition to find out the correct ways, because I think that it's possible to get all those things which you're really looking forward. And I'm also looking forward to the eco-friendly substitute. In fact, I'm working on some of the products to make an eco-friendly substitute that is more environment friendly, more easy to extract, biodegradable, recyclable. So I'm working on the sub materials, but these are the sub brands that you can very well pursue if you're looking forward to eco-friendly paints. And if you know any of the eco-friendly paints or any of the eco-friendly artist supplies brands in the online space, let me know in the comment section below, because it will going to help me as well. It will going to help other people as well who will gonna read your comment. But anyways, guys, hopefully you enjoyed today's video, and let me know what you think in the comment section below, how you're actually approaching the eco-friendly ways. Do you have any tips and tricks and strategies or small hacks? Whatever it is, let me know in the comment section below. Thank you so much for tuning in today's video. I'm gonna see you the next time. Till then, take care. Bye, guys.